Israel is stepping up its attacks on Iran, targeting the country's military facilities. Just this morning, Israel's defense minister said his forces destroyed Iran's internal security headquarters. Iran has been returning fire, but it appears the Iron Dome has intercepted nearly all ballistic missiles aimed at Israeli cities. Meanwhile, President Trump is weighing what role the U.S. should play in all of this, including a potential strike on Iranian nuclear sites. A senior administration official tells NBC News that the president is in near constant contact with his national security team. That official also said that all options remain on the table. In response, Iran's supreme leader is vowing to show no mercy. He's pledging any American military entry will undoubtedly be met with irreparable damage. The Ayatollah went on to say that those who know Iran never speak to this nation with the language of threats. Our reporters are covering this developing story from all angles. NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley standing by with the latest from Tel Aviv. But first, I want to head to NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba, who joins me live right now from D.C. Monica, President Trump met with his national security team for, more than an hour in the Situation Room yesterday. As of right now, the U.S. remains largely sort of on the sidelines of this conflict. But to what extent is the president actually considered getting involved?
Well, he's certainly considering it, Morgan. It is a real possibility, and his language over the last couple of days has started to trend toward this idea that the U.S. could aid Israel in taking out some of these nuclear sites by providing either weaponry or some other kind of assistance. But he had a little bit more to say on his decision-making and how he's approaching that when he was asked by reporters a short time ago. Listen.
I may do it. I may not do it. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country.
So the president there trying to argue that he was still in favor of the diplomatic route as of a couple of days ago. We know that there had been those talks that were scheduled for last weekend that were ultimately canceled. And he's still implying there that there was some opportunity perhaps for Iran to come back to the negotiating table. He said even that Iranian officials had reached out to the White House to potentially resume some of those conversations, which Iranians earlier today denied, saying that they would never come and, quote, grovel at the gates of the White House at this point.
But Monica, Iran also threatened irreparable damage. So, is Trump worried at all about the consequences?
Certainly, and one of the considerations here for making some of these decisions really relies on what might happen to U.S. military personnel on bases in the region, and also, of course, to Americans who live in Israel and in other countries throughout the Middle East. And so that's why you have now these diplomatic offerings from people like Mike Huckabee, who is the current ambassador, to if people want to get out of Israel, they are now setting up those abilities for potential evacuations, either on cruise ships or through other ways that we saw even after the war started after October 7th and those attacks with the war in Gaza, that they gave that option to Americans as well. That's now something they're offering as well. Morgan.
Monica Alba for us there from the White House. Monica, thank you. I do want to stay overseas right now and bring in our international correspondent, Matt Bradley, who's live at this moment in Tel Aviv. Matt, Israel is systematically, essentially destroying Iran's defense systems, including uranium and weapons manufacturing sites. So what type of shape is the country's military infrastructure in now at this point in the process?
Yeah, as far as we know, according to the Israelis, they've completely destroyed so much of Iran's ability to retaliate. And we can actually feel that here, because for the past 2 nights, there's been no fatalities from any of these Iranian attacks, even though there's been multiple sirens. There haven't really even been that many, basically, injuries. A lot of the people, it sounds like the vast majority of the people who've been injured have been because they were running to go to these safe rooms and tripped and fell, or they had anxiety. So we're seeing a marked decrease in the intensity of the volleys that were fired last night. According to my contacts at the IDF, they said that they were about a little more than a dozen actual projectiles, ballistic missiles inside the volley that was fired at Israel. That's down from a couple of hundreds or more than 100 previously towards the beginning of this conflict. So really we're seeing a big change. Local regulators, the government here is saying that they're going to start lifting restrictions. And actually that started about an hour ago here in Tel Aviv. So it looks like for folks here, they're turning the corner.
But I'm curious about this near total internet blackout in Iran. Is that intentional?
Oh, almost certainly. And I mean, we've been seeing that the Israelis have been launching now cyber attacks against Iranian targets. The Iranians have said this on their state media. It's apparently almost impossible to get cash from an ATM in Iran. So we're seeing some very different fronts opening up as the Israelis really dig in. And again, what we keep hearing over and over again is that for the Israelis, the turning point was getting air superiority over all of Western Iran, all through the capital of Tehran. That is what has allowed them to dominate the skies and to adjust in real time to what's going on.
Matt Bradley for us live from Tel Aviv. Matt, thank you.